Mbk Reacts. Hey yo, welcome back to Mbk Reacts. We knew the last part to the finale. Last part finale, my fault. The last part of this series, of the What If series, the Sloth series. Last episode, we got a lot of information. We got information about Tia, how it really is a spirit. The Restia bed, whatever I think that place was called. We got information about the other Tia that wasn't really Tia. It was a clone. It was an Oni who cloned her with a light ball. And then she attacked Subaru because she smelled the witch cult on him, because she's basically looking for the witch cult to fight them. Ren, pregnant, started labor. Hallidell, he's chilling with us right now. And it seems like the Tia's about to go fight the Oni, and we're about to see what happens next in this last part of the What If Sloth. You know what to do with like type of content. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment to the bell on for our V0 playlist so you get notified when we upload new videos next. If you're new here, check out our season 1 and 2 reactions to V0 and also our other reactions of the What If series. Without further ado, episode starting in 3, 2, 1, go. Lucia.
After losing my family when I was younger, all I had left was myself. But despite my tragic past, I was still a high and proud woman of the Oni race.
Oh wow.
I now lived in a village full of demi-humans who had been rejected by society, yet for some reason, they accepted me. As time went on, I started making friends with them. I established a daily routine and eventually became satisfied with my ordinary, peaceful life. Finally, I was comfortable once again, and for that, I was glad. It was when I had thoughts like these that they all disappeared in a scene of flames.
Rose walk on this. Rose walk did this.
Welcome back, everyone, to part 4 of the What If prequel. This is the final part of the series, and we will be covering the last 3 chapters, starting with the interlude, then chapter 6, and finally the epilogue. Last video, we learned that the Dark Tia is actually an Oni woman borrowing her appearance and her powers. This interlude is actually the Oni woman's backstory, and because she hasn't been named yet, I think I'm gonna read it from her perspective to make it easier to understand.
Understandable.
Before I begin though, I have to warn you, there is a brief appearance of a character that will also appear in Arc 5, also known as Season 3. I will be using this character's official artwork, and I'm going to include all the details that this chapter provided. That being said, I still think anime-onlys can watch this without any problems, because the spoilers are so minuscule that you probably wouldn't have even known you got spoiled if I didn't tell you. We don't even
don't assume without knowing that.
Skip them though, check
I'm
the
pretty,
description
I
for
can
timestamps.
understand.
Without further ado, let's begin right where we left off.
Okay.
The young man who taught me to grow crops, the elderly neighbors who showed me kindness, all of them burned. I was the only one who survived. The hooded figures overpowered me and laughed as my body slowly burned in the fire. As I lied there helplessly, I heard another woman's insane voice approaching me slowly. The voice was both psychotic and wicked, and it echoed inside my head, tormenting me. As if I wasn't already suffering enough, the crazy woman walked up to me and poured something disgusting into my body. It creeped in through my ears and slithered around inside me, violating my body. The whole time, the crazy woman taunted me while the other witch cultists laughed. I shrieked in agony as not just my body, but my soul rejected the repulsive liquid flowing through my insides. "Work's all done," the crazy woman said as she walked away. But even after she left, her voice kept echoing inside my head. Suddenly, my nose could detect the witch's scent for the first time.
Oh wow.
I could smell the people that tortured me and burned my village.
That's probably the only thing that they're showing of her.
My body somehow advanced my sense of smell.
So now we know
And from that
the witch
moment
cult
on,
is she's in
I
the witch
vowed
cult.
to punish anyone who smelled like
But it
a
seems like at the
witch.
same time she likes to play games because she just gave her something to be able to fight with. Oh yeah, so once we find her in season 3, she down here not on her side but at the same time.
These as shields, I was able to get past the deadly wind surrounding Zarestia's bed. After retrieving the light ball, I finally had enough power to slaughter everyone with the witch's scent. One particular night, my nose reacted strongly to a young man walking the streets of a town called Banan. He was on his way home after a hard day's work at one of the town's mansions, and there was someone with him too, a cute woman with blue hair. She was another Oni, the same race as me, the same blood as me.
That's why she wasn't attacking her too.
How could another member of the Oni race be happily in love with someone like him? Someone that smelled like the witch? Is she really going to protect a witch cultist? In that case, I'll just have to kill her too.
Can't you let me kill her? So they fight.
The woman dressed in white collapsed after I threw her against the wall.
Wait, you lost him?
Her voice is the same one I hear endlessly telling me to kill. I lifted her up and drained her of her power. I watched as her existence slowly turned into dust. With her last breath, it sounded like she was trying to say someone's name. However, it didn't matter to me. The woman crumbled into dust, and her remains were scattered by the blowing wind.
I'm assuming he's never going to show up ever again.
All that's left now is to get my revenge. Not only on the enemy with the scent of the witch, but also that woman who was close with him. Killing both of them is the only thing that will comfort me. This,
wait, what about that witch cult?
It isn't hatred, it's my duty.
3, 2, 1. Last month we're prepping this year.
Rem was laying in bed at the clinic with Subaru at her side. The child would be born any second now, but Rem second guesses herself. She reflects on her past and admits that she was a bad child and a bad sister, so maybe she'll be a bad parent as well. Subaru tries his best to comfort her, but she asks him again if he regrets all of this. Subaru was quiet for a bit, but after a moment he rubbed his eyes and then spoke up. No, Rem, that's not it. I've been safe.
No, you regret it.
My entire life I've been running.
You still are.
I ran away from my parents. I ran away from reality. I even ran away from the promise I made. I threw away everything and ran away with you. But even after all that running, when I heard that we had a child, I was happy. And that's what saved me. Ren was speechless after Subaru finished talking. Her red face got even redder, and with tears in her eyes, she gave Subaru a slight smile and told him, but then Subaru is kicked out of the room by the doctor because Ren's about to give birth and Subaru would just get in the way. Outside of the clinic though, Hannibal was waiting for Subaru. We've got business to take care of, Hannibal says. Reaching into his kimono, he reveals a bracelet identical to the one he gave Tia. Apparently, these bracelets have magical power as long as there's 2 of them. But Hannibal's bracelet lost its magical power, meaning that something bad happened to Tia. When Hannibal and Subaru realize this, the 2 of them agree to avenge Tia and stop this Oni woman once and for all.
That's crazy.
The slaughterous wind turned everything to dust. Hannibal's throwing knives were repelled by the wind attacks. No matter how many he threw, he couldn't hit the Black Tia. The Black Tia was busy dealing with Hannibal, but she couldn't ignore the stench in the air. The witch's scent was getting stronger, and it disgusted her, to the point that she couldn't take it anymore. She ignored Hannibal and went straight for Subaru. You know, your face is a lot cuter when you smile. Almost as cute as my wife's, Subaru says. The dark Tia replies with die and then shoots at him with wind magic, which is blocked by a knife thrown by Hannibal. She chases them across rooftops, blasting wind magic at them. All the while, the voice in her head continues telling her to kill. But she senses
that voice is also that other person that gave her that thing
to leave the rooftop. However, something happened that made her lose all sense of reason. The witch's scent intensified, and the dark Tia lost control. She jumps down and shoots a blast of wind at Subaru, and Hannibal launches him into the sky, but wasn't able to avoid the attack himself. He apologizes to Subaru, and then dies. The dark Tia felt joy after confirming the kill, and looked up at her next target.
Why did he just
the
make
voice
4
inside her head told her to tear his body limb from limb, and then bring his remains to his wife to teach her a lesson. But while Subaru's flying through the air, he shouts, "Do it now!" And then suddenly something was thrown at the Black Tia from every direction. It was a bunch bunch of wet pieces of cloth slowly flying towards her. She still had plenty of time to kill Subaru though, and without Hannibal, Subaru had no way of dodging the
That's
attack.
probably one of his bodies.
But the voice inside the Dark Tia's head telling her to kill suddenly changed. I don't want Rem to hate me, it said, and then the Black Tia froze. She couldn't move her hands or legs. She couldn't kill, and she couldn't dodge the wet pieces of cloth. They hit her
set her on
and
fire?
wrapped around her body over
Gotta
and
be
over.
alcohol.
She screamed as if her skull was breaking as the sharp scent of alcohol
Oh,
entered
okay.
her nose.
Look how they got.
I was gonna say, bro, there's no way he has that ability and not does it.
She back to
Her
the
body
honey
lost
version.
its form and
Come here.
started coming off as if it was ice melting.
Start breaking
She
off
lost
the
all her power as well and was now nothing more than a regular Oni. I'm sorry, Hannibal says, and sticks a knife in the center of her chest.
Okay.
It was over.
Walked over. So we're not going to talk to her first?
Remember, Hannibal is trained in the art of curses, and to apply a curse, you have to touch someone. Well, Hannibal infused some of his fur and nails into his weapons so that they can apply curses as well. This means that in Chapter 2, when Hannibal threw a knife into the woman's back, he applied a curse to her. 3 of the Hannibals throw knives. He manages to block 2 of them, but the third pierces through her thin back. So this whole time, she's actually been a lot weaker than she would have been if Hannibal didn't curse her during their first encounter. This really says a lot about how smart and powerful Hannibal really is, and also how powerful
Yeah, I was like,
great
how
spirits
powerful.
are as well.
Oh, that's why he was like,
Operate this efficiently
you want me to
under
take
the
her out?
effects
He's
of a
like,
curse
I
definitely
really think
implies tremendous power. Anyway, Subaru apologizes to the dying Oni woman. He tells her that he's not a witch cultist, he's a father, and that's why he had to kill her. Protecting his pregnant wife was his only concern. I hate her, the Oni woman says. She was talking about Rem. Her eyes weren't looking at Subaru or anywhere in this world. They were looking at something that doesn't exist. It was the happiness she was supposed
That was
to
just about
have.
to say, she's probably
The life
jealous that
was
Ram's
to
living
live
this
for her.
happy life.
All she had now was hatred and jealousy towards Rem. No, it was envy.
This is
What's
where
your
she
name?
comes
Subaru
and says,
The
help!
girl tried to talk but couldn't get the word out. But from what Subaru could hear, her name was Reese. As the light left her eyes, Subaru vowed to never forget her name. But her envy was something Subaru would never speak of again for the rest of his life. Subaru thanks Hannibal for going along with his plan. The whole town had helped out, actually. Tia was very popular, so the town was more than happy to help avenge her. The plan ended up being a success, as there were no victims other than the Oni woman, but that was unavoidable. Suddenly, a wind comes down across the garden, carrying a white figure to the ground.
Why are you so like Tia?
Yeah, what are you doing?
Yes, Tia was back.
She's back to 100 years ago.
How old is this?
She had to survive this thinking, yeah, calamity, so she overcame
Long
400.
before there were witches and dragons, the great spirit Celestia roamed the continent freely, using her magic as she pleased. With her hands, she produced fire. With her legs, she dug up the earth. With her tail, she created water.
She
With her mouth, she controlled wind.
creator?
The Great Spirit had a friendly relationship with the people of the world. She would do favors for them, and they would offer her gifts in return. However, there was a time when the people asked her for fire. Just fire.
Oh,
But
wow.
Celestia wanted to use wind magic as well, as wind magic was her symbol of freedom. So she gave the people both fire and wind.
They didn't ask for
The
that.
combination of the two resulted in the country burning to the
Man,
ground.
they did not ask for that. They were screaming, we didn't ask for this!
Celestia didn't understand why what she did was wrong, so the people turned against her. They invited her to a celebration and gave her alcohol
Oh,
to
that's
drink.
why
She didn't understand what alcohol was, so she drank everything they gave her. And eventually she passed out, and that's when the angry citizens got their revenge.
Hey, don't tell me.
When Celestia woke up, she was
Woke up
missing
her
all
body.
her limbs. Her arms, legs, and tail were gone, and with them, her ability to use fire, water, and earth magic
Dang.
disappeared as well. My body, where is it? Give it back, she said.
That's why she's killing me.
That's why she woke up in that last episode. She was like, give me back my body when she was drunk.
And set it on fire. But Celestia still had her head, her mouth, her fangs, and her wind. Not a single person survived. Celestia killed everyone she saw, even those who were innocent.
Wait, what's
When she was happy, she wanted to kill. When she was sad, she wanted to kill. When she went to sleep, she wanted to kill. And when she woke up, she wanted to kill. It was the only way for her to feel free again. So she killed and wouldn't stop. The same people that formerly called her beautiful now called her a Shinigami. I am Celestia, the most beautiful Shinigami. And Celestia was free.
I'm a Shinigami. Next shot.
Rem was in terrible agony. Giving birth was so painful that she couldn't even feel the horn coming out of her head. She focused all her energy into the baby, closed her eyes, and tried her best to push through the pain.
Might have two. No, I think
when she opened her eyes, she saw something unexpected. It was no hallucination. Tia truly was standing there, smiling with a murderous look in her eyes. It was a genuine smile, but it was completely full of bloodlust. She was wearing the white outfit, so it was definitely the good Tia. However, the aura she gave off was exactly the same as the bad Tia, which meant you got your light ball back, Rem says.
Oh yeah, she gets the light ball.
Tia
She can't
gets
control
embarrassed
herself.
and starts nervously playing with her hair, and with a red face, Tia timidly confirms Rem's suspicion. Rem wasn't afraid, but she had to ask, Tia, are you going to kill me? After a moment of suspenseful silence, Tia answers her.
Yes.
I want to, but I love you guys, so I won't kill you.
What?
This goes against her horror story.
Yeah, that's not normal.
That goes against her horror beliefs.
Subaru still wasn't allowed inside the clinic, so
What's he
he's
not allowed?
outside with Hannibal, praying that everything goes
He's
all
the whole
right.
father.
He prayed to every
God.
and even added Tia's name right at the end of the list.
He said,
Hannibal
please,
asks him if
Tia.
he's decided on a name for the child yet, which of course he had.
Yeah.
Subaru says that if it's a girl, he wants to name her Mbk, and if it's a boy... Before he could finish, the clinic door opened and Rem walked outside.
Who is this
In
character?
her arms, she was holding her newborn son.
Well, she was holding Tia's head.
What's that boy going there?
Wait,
Rigel, it's time to go to school,
Rigel?
said
Rigel.
to the 6-year-old boy with light blue hair. Rigel was a sassy, energetic kid, just like his father. Except Rigel was also different from his father in a lot of ways. For one, he was able to produce a single horn from his forehead, which would gather mana and fill his body with strength, making him feel like he could do anything. But he avoided showing his horn around his mom because he knew she felt guilty that he was only born with one. Rem was actually pregnant again, and Rigel made it clear that he wanted the baby to be his little sister. For some reason, Rigel is a major ciscon.
Okay.
On the way to school, Rigel runs into his uncle Hannibal, who's been secretly training him in the arts of his shinobi. Obviously, Ren and Subaru have no idea that Hannibal's been doing this.
That's when the
Two
court
of them chat for a
East Red
while.
Court.
After Hannibal leaves, Rigel runs into a beautiful woman dressed in white. To his surprise, the woman addresses him by name and explains that she knows his parents. She offers him a bracelet as a gift, but Rigel turns it down. After all, Rem always told him not to accept things from strangers, so Rigel rejects the gift, and then Tia starts crying and threatens to kill him. Rigel wasn't afraid of her, though, because somehow he could tell that she wasn't really going to hurt him. The woman introduces herself as Tia, and explains that she's basically part of his family, so he can trust her. The two of them start walking together, and Tia hums a song along the way. The same song from before. In fact, it might be the only song Tia knows. But surprisingly, Rigel recognized the song.
Because she was
the
pregnant
same
inside the
tune
baby.
song would hum sometimes, and if he remembered correctly, she had always called it the Tia song. Well, I guess I'll just have to accept her as family then, Rigel thought to himself.
And they really showed a clip, not a clip, but a little picture of What If in season 2. What they really went down that road.
Under that light blue sky,
would be
in that ordinary-looking town,
Reinhardt comes down. Her Subaru.
irreplaceable happiness that existed in the Lindsay family.
You left the million.
Also existed things that were sacrificed,
Dang,
people
bro.
that were lost,
Yep.
places
got
that were
voted for,
abandoned,
Bye-bye.
and memories that can't be
Bye.
forgotten. But despite
Ram
everything
actually
they left behind, Natsuki
I think Ram dies.
and
If
Natsuki
Millie died,
will
Ram definitely
continue
died.
to live in
Castle.
this world as it goes on. And that was one ending for the lost boy who wandered into another world.
Dang, bro. The author of ReZero is literally goated. Like, you can't make this stuff up. Like, he wrote this.
When you got, when you're
What?
And that concludes the Rem If prequel. Yes, this was just a prequel, so the story does continue with the original Rem If, but after this point, all the conflict is resolved, and what's left is basically just slice of life type filler stuff.
Okay.
So right here is where the Sloth If story really ends, and the content after this point could be viewed as a sort of OVA, for lack of better terminology. What makes this If story different from the others is that Subaru overcame his mental conflict by the end of the story. In the beginning, Subaru chose the path of sloth, but once he realized that he was a father, he chose diligence instead, and finally went through the same development that he was supposed to get from episode 18. The difference was, in the main story, it only took him that one conversation with Rem to obtain it, but in the Sloth If story, it took him much longer.
months.
It's not like he didn't choose the right path in the end, he was just too slow. I thought that was a very clever way of thematically incorporating sloth into the story while at the same time still giving Subaru a happy ending.
Subaru's really the best.
This If story gave us a lot of new information, a massive amount of
Shinji,
world
Eren,
building, and some awesome
Subaru.
new characters that could potentially appear later on in the main
Subaru.
story.
Neither of these guys are coming besides out of
The
it.
most important thing from this If story are the possible theories that it allows us to form. I don't know how many of you picked up on this, but I want to talk about a huge detail from this story that might affect the main story in a future arc. For some reason, the witch cult was trying to exterminate the Oni race, and that crazy woman was conducting some very evil experiments with a mysterious liquid. But the Oni woman, Reese, wasn't able to smell the witch's scent until after that liquid settled inside her body. Reese being able to smell the witch's scent was a symptom of that crazy woman's
So that
experiment.
means Ram and Ram?
Because it means we can assume that normal Oni aren't supposed to be able to smell the witch's scent. But
That's why they got ambushed.
Ren can. Rom can't, the other Oni can't, and Reese couldn't either. Until the crazy woman poured that liquid into
So
her
that's why
body.
she's important in season
So
3
the theory
probably.
is something similar happened to Rem when her village was attacked, and that's why she's able to smell. the
Either
witch's
Rosewell's in
scent.
connections with
This
that little
story
girl.
also pretty much
or-
confirmed that the founder
maybe-
of Kararagi was originally from Japan. I mean, literally
Maybe Rosewell-
everything in Kararagi
maybe Rosewell
mimics
knew
early
that.
Japanese
He knows
culture,
this.
So that's another
But I mean, he
very
knows a lot of
interesting
stuff. He
detail that'll
has the
probably
book.
have some
But I'm
relevance
saying,
in
like,
the
he
future.
knows
But
that,
anyway,
like, what
I
is
really
specifically
enjoyed this
happened to
story,
Ren,
and I
why
had
she can
blast
smell
making
what
these
she can
videos
smell.
as well. So thank you guys for all the amazing.
No, thank you. It's nothing for giving us that one. Go to series right back. Probably not my favorite. Gotta be second best. I think it was Raph. I'm talking about all the what ifs. I think I like Raph the most. It's either Pride or Raph. Whatever one where he dies like a million times trying to fight Reinhardt. That's the best one. But yeah, go to can't lie. Go to.
No cap. Go to. I haven't watched any of the other ones, but the Sloth, like the fact that you're having what if stories and the show is already huge, like the world bending is huge, like that's crazy.
Oh yeah, that's
not
goated. That's goated. Shinji, Eren, Subaru. Shinji, Eren, Subaru.
Who is this guy, bro? What?
Yeah, the author, he's crazy. Oh yeah, I think he's crazy. He's world building up there with One Piece on God, no cat like can't lie. He said Hannibal and Tia might get introduced later on. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what role Tia's gonna play, unless if we actually go to different regions. I see Hannibal coming because if he comes, and the other guy's gonna probably come to the other strong guy, and then the other girl, the little witch girl, not witch girl, we're assuming witch girl.
The Oni?
Not the Oni, the one that gave the Oni the power to smell.
Oh,
she's gonna come.
yeah.
So if she's gonna come, Rosewell might be coming back season 3 to explain, hey, I knew that person,
Come back.
or I bought some type of potion from her before to make Ren be able to smell. I don't know, but
something right.
Subaru's kid was a demon, though.
Oh, bruh.
Subaru's kid
He was in the main
scary.
story, like the fact that he's the only one he'd be getting trained by a shinobi, that'd be disgusting, bro.
He said, "Who are you? Who are you? Kia, part of your family. I'm gonna kill you." And he said, "I'm not scared of you. I'm not taking that bracelet. I can't trust you."
Wait, so
The one that was crazy, that little dog thing down there that was showing like episode 1 is like friends with them, like in all the fan art, and then the thing that gave him the letter to find a Halle Bell.
that's crazy.
I wonder if that character's a little important later on.
Man, I didn't even notice that until he zoomed in.
Man, he zoomed in on a little character walking across the
I'm like,
screen.
huh?
I'm like,
Holding this
"What?"
important ass message.
That's like when Chupa did it when they showed the elf girl at like that first like episode 3 whatever at the top we didn't even know.
I didn't even
Like,
realize that.
Turned out she was what's her name? Episode 12. That's crazy. But yeah, that's the one in story reaction. I think that's the last one. I don't think there's any more. I think that's all the ReZero videos we can do actually until season 3 comes out. Unless if we just go straight into reading a light novel.
I'm gonna start making my own fan art.
Which I'm never gonna read the light novel. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm not reading a light novel for this, Classroom Movie. I'm not reading a light novel for none of that.
That's so crazy.
Shut up. So you know what to do like that. We're gonna make like comment, share, turn post notification on, and ring that bell. Mbk out.